Magnetic North adventures, where the treasure calls our name. Through the forests and the waters, we'll never be the same. With every find we're cleaning, leaving nothing but the earth. Magnetic North adventures, discovering our world.
Good morning, good afternoon and good evening. It's Lee from Magnetic North Adventures, and today we're going to be doing something totally different. We're going to be walking an ancient Iron Age British hill fort which had Roman occupation, so it's said, and it was owned by the briganttees Celtic tribe. That is around 60 BC to 60 AD, and it's said that the Romans actually besieged this area and attacked it in the very first century AD. Now, there is evidence that the fort was burned down, so it's very clear that it was occupied afterwards. As to what happened before, nobody really knows. There was excavations in 1899, and that did show that there was a ditch and rampart, and in a rampart there was also a palisade wooden wall, and there was embankments up to 3 meters. They've now been levelled down, and the highest embankments are a maximum of 3 feet tall. Now, there is high evidence that all the wooden palisades and the buildings were burned down, so the Romans must have really hated this place when they took over. So I'm going to take you on a walking tour of that particular settlement. To my subscribers, new, old, those just visiting, you're very welcome. We're over here in Sheffield, South Yorkshire. That there behind me is the path that's going up the modern path to the hill fort. Let's go for it. I've just started the walk, and there's this old footpath area, and it's going up this steep embankment. This very path is the one that the ancient Iron Age native Britons would have walked up, and this would have led you into where the houses were, the farms, the community. And basically it's sad to see that it is quite trashed. There's a lot of litter around. Sadly, I can't do anything about that today. So we've got the footpath going up that way, and we've got this one that goes towards the rampart. As we're coming up, that's getting very steep. It comes down this way. You can see the high elevation of the land to the trees below, and that's why it was a hill fort. It was a natural hill that had been fortified with ditches, embankments and a palisade. Palisade is a wooden wall made of lots of timber spikes and basically wooden walkways. Now, this is the very point here that the Romans, if they did attack, would have seen as a easy weak point, and they'd been known to be able to scale this very, very quickly. Now, if you're a Roman, in 80 pounds of equipment and weaponry and armour, the native Celtic Britons didn't have any of that. Shield and spear. If they were lucky, a dagger or a sword. And we're coming up, and this here is the rampart. Just here we've got a trench-like feature, and it comes down this way. So we're coming up to the edge of the fort itself. This is an area that you'd have had people with slingshots and catapults throwing stones at people, and there'd have been spears and arrows here as well. So this here is the area of flat land right on the bottom of the main hill fort itself, and this is the only area in which, if there was actually a battle between the Romans and the native Britons against the briganttees, it is in this very area that the Romans would have fought. They'd have taken slaves and they would have actually controlled this area to the maximum. And it's said that this hill fort here behind me was potentially, there's no documented evidence, but it's said that there was siege machines, scorpions and ballistas, bolt throwers and stone ball throwers to take down the wooden palisade. Now I will show you the evidence of where the fort has been built, and I will show you where it has been burned down as well. And all this area on the bottom of the hill is very, very flat, and it's certainly different because it's a lovely sunny day today, and down here it does feel cold. And I'm just going to show you. Right, so if we was to go up that hill without the trees on it, transforming you back 2,000 years, there'd be a big wooden settlement. May not be the one from here, but it will show you similar to what it would have looked like at the time. So just looking up the side here, you've got this long earthwork coming down here, and it comes down this way. Got this flat plateau and it comes down here. This was an earthwork which was a point right up to the top, and this is where you would take your animals, your machines, things like that, if you had them. And you can see just how steep it is, and I'm angling my phone right back so you can see exactly what we've got. We're going to go up there and I'm going to show you what's at the top of the rampart. So I've just entered onto the lower part of the earthwork. You can see there's little divots in the ground, and this is where features would have been. There'd be more palisades down here, and the lower slope we come across this stone, and just so you can see, I will put this one back just out of the sunlight. There you go. That is burned stone. So this would have been where the outer palisade has been burned down, quite possibly by the Romans themselves. None of these trees would have been here, so the palisade would have run across this side of the hill or defended outlets, and up at the top here you'd have had the inner palisade where people lived. We're going to get up there and I'll show you what's up there. So I'm near the top. This is how charred the earth is up here, and down there, that's where I've just come from. And as we come up this very top bit, just here, something remarkable that's got ribs on it. That is actually prehistoric, millions of years old, fossilized timber. Again, burned and charred stones. But that is a fossil, so that's been here millions of years. There's another one just there. So let's do as the Romans did and siege through onto this very rampart up here. And we're on. We're right below where the hill fort is now, and we'd have arrows coming at us, stones, catapult items, and men charging down with spears. It must have been an awful place to have been, and even as a trained Roman soldier, this is what's behind you. So you'd have to have a lot of energy just to get to this very point. And down here you can see just how steep it is on this embankment as well. So I'm 5 meters from the very top of the site, and this is another old walkway going down the side of the embankment. It's not known when these were actually created. Some of these could be from World War II. There was a World War II searchlight up here, and it said that there was an anti-aircraft 40mm also up here, a cannon. That was here in 1940, 1941. You've got a round circular bit here that could have been defended. Again, it could have been home guard. There's nothing to say that it is ancient, but it's possible all these hill forts were at one stage besieged. So put yourself into ancient Britain's perspective. You stood here where that road is, you're seeing a massive army come down. Armour, siege machines, siege weapons, ballistas, scorpions, bolt throwers, catapults. There's potentially up to 10,000 men coming onto this site, with as little as 2,000 to 3,000 in your settlement, being a very large settlement. The level of fear that would be induced just seeing that alone, and knowing what the Roman machine was capable of, this is now becoming a do or die mission for anybody that's up here. Worst case scenario, you survive and you're captured, then you become a slave, or you'd be killed on the spot for resistance. Hard times. So this area here is all compacted stone. This is the rampart, which was done so that you could bring your horse and cart up here safely, and this was a heavily defended part of the settlement. At the time, you'd have had local neighbouring tribes that you may not have got on with. So even before the Romans, and even if the Romans never came here, you would still need to defend this site against the native population of the other tribes. And this is the main rampart going down towards where Sheffield City has become known now. We're still going up. As you can see, it's still very quite steep. Now I'd love to be able to go back in time and see exactly what happened and give you 100% authentic story, but I can't. So I can only give you an impression of what's happened in the rest of the country, and what would have happened at the other sites. There's been very little excavations here, and a lot of things have changed over the years. But I can tell you roughly what's happened at other sites. apply it to this site and you'll get the picture of what's actually going on. And we're almost at the top now. So we're just coming up now to the very crest of the site, the peak. So we're still on the very top edge of the settlement. You can see now you've got some small flat plateaus, and these small plateaus were once farmed, and it's where they would have had the livestock, the cattle, the sheep, the cows, if you're lucky enough some horses as well. So just here we've got a concrete round emplacement. Now if you can imagine, there's a Bren 303 here, and there's lots of German aircraft. It's 1940, Sheffield is getting blitzed. You can see the city on fire, and at this point is where you'd be stood, 2 or 3 of your ammunition boxes down here, and you're shooting at the enemy aircraft all around you, all up here. It's night time. You can see the city is burning, and straight away you know this is the change of Sheffield. You've got to defend. This is the modern part of Sheffield that's being defended. Just here we've got a trench just there. It goes there, down here, and across here. And this trench is what the Home Guard was using in World War II during air raids. And anybody that was on the defended site down that way and just around this hill crest would have all sheltered, literally huddled together in the ground here, with nothing more than a couple of leather sheets and canvas over them, and steel tin helmets, hoping for the best that nothing landed near them. And there was actually a anti-aircraft 40mm up here as well, a cannon, in 1917 when there was a Zeppelin blitz this very city as well. So just looking down from the very top, this feature here, that is your inner palisade. Now can you imagine all those years ago, after all those fights that may have taken place here, you've got the Roman soldiers standing looking over here, assessing, thinking, was it really worth it? Well, yes it was, because politically they had to take this settlement as a statement, because it couldn't be reinforced if they left it be. So we think it was basically taken, burned down to stop it being reused. People was enslaved, moved on, and the threat was wiped out. Excavations in the past, Roman pottery has turned up on this site, and more burned material, burned stonework, bits of timber post, things like that. It's not documented, but I was speaking years ago to a person, again in the Home Guard, and this area here, just here, just around this area, up to the tree, and then you've got this compound area. This was also used as a munition store, and other munitions were stored in this area for the cannon that was on site. So it's hard to believe all the wooden boxes with munitions in, artillery shells, things like that. we're actually at this very point, 1940 to 1942. So this area here, this is where roundhouses would have been, grain stores, and basically a few wooden huts in the ancient briganttees time. So this here, you can see this embankment running along here. All this area here is the inside. You'd have had a wooden gate here. This would have been defended, and all this land here, you're inside the settlement. This is your home. This is what you're fighting for, and everything happened here. Your tribal meetings, your trade, your cattle buying was brought up to here, to the compounds, all here. This was once home to many men, women and children. So just here we've got some professional laid stone blocks. This is where the cannon was, anti-aircraft cannon, 1917, when the Zeppelin came over. Now the crew was sat here waiting for orders to open fire, and those orders never came. Sadly, the officers at the time, they was over in Sheffield, down at Attercliffe, having a meal. And unfortunately, they were under strict orders not to open fire unless the order had been given. Moments later, Sheffield was blitzed by a Zeppelin along Carbrook and Attercliffe and down to Pittsmore area, and there was a number of casualties. And again in 1940 there was a Bofors 40mm anti-aircraft brought here, and that was reused, and we don't actually know if that opened fire or not, but I can imagine they would have done with the other defences that's on site. And a bit further down the hill it said that there was a larger one, which was a 3.7-inch cannon firing artillery shells. So we've had this modern notice board put up for convenience. So I'm just going to give you the information what's on it. If you want to read it, please stop and pause the video so you can read that. First mention 1442 of this settlement. There's the rampart and the ditch and the outer banks. And then we've got the excavation notes here, the archaeology information. So yes, the Romans built their own fort in 54 AD, only 2 miles away on the opposite valley of the Don, which became Templeborough. So it's said that there was evidence in the area, farms, things like that. So yeah, this area here, just around here, this is where another mine dropped, and this was a large crater. People used it to go across it in tyres as boats. That's documented from World War II stories. Right then folks, that is the end of this particular tour. This is my personal tour of this particular place, and anybody that does a tour, they do their own unique version of it, their own story, the things that could have happened, the things that did happen, whether it did, whether it didn't. That's up to you to make your own mind up. but I'm just giving you a generalisation of what could have happened and what I've been told has happened. I know my friend Damien, he's enjoyed the tour. He loves his Roman and ancient British history, and I've met a few nice people along the way as well. Had a bit of a chat. Absolutely beautiful day. I love days like this. But anyway, I've rambled on enough. Sure you don't want to listen to me anymore. So don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. And until the very next time, I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now everyone. See ya.